Discover the heartwarming moment when a lonely CEO transforms a little girl's life with dance. Jack Peterson was the type of man who epitomized success in every glossy magazine, a titan of industry and a name synonymous with corporate triumph. Yet, beneath that polished surface, a heavy loneliness churned in his chest. At 45, he seemed to have it all: money, power, a mansion in suburbia, and a brand that sparkled in the eyes of the elite. But the laughter of children, the warmth of family, and dreams of dancing were distant echoes, lost in the labyrinth of his corporate empire. As he wandered through the annual community festival, the vivid colors of the fall foliage seemed to mock his weariness. The air was alive with laughter, the sounds of children playing, and the vibrant music wafting from the stage. Jack paused, struck by a little girl standing at the edge of the stage. Her name was Mia, all of 8 years old, her wide eyes reflecting sheer wonder as she watched the dancers twirl and leap. Each spin seemed to beckon her, yet she stood still, shackled by the overprotective worries of her mother, who seemed to be gathering her anxieties like a heavy blanket around them. A flood of memories washed over Jack. As a child, he too was mesmerized by the magic of dance, his heart dancing to an unrecognizable beat. He felt a tug deep inside. It was a longing, a whisper from his past urging him to act. Compelled by that old, familiar desire, he devised a plan: sponsor dance classes at the community center. Before he knew it, he was at Mia's side, offering her some encouragement. "You should dance," he said, his voice low and warm, inviting. Mia looked up at him, her brow furrowed in uncertainty, and yet there was a glimmer of hope in her eyes. "But," she hesitated, casting a glance at her mother, "we can't afford it." For a moment, Jack felt the weight of her words like lead in his heart. But just like that, something awakened in him, igniting a fierce determination. He would help them. He would not only sponsor the classes but also offer guidance and support. This was about more than polishing his image. It was a chance to reconnect with the piece of himself he had buried deep under reports, meetings, and corporate strategy. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But Jack's newfound enthusiasm was met with skepticism from his CEO peers. Dance? Really? They scoffed, shaking their heads in disbelief. They saw him as a corporate head, not a community leader. Their remarks stung, but with Mia's timid encouragement, he pressed on, as he watched her flickers of passion often extinguished by her mother's fears. Mia's mother, however, was fed up. She called out the dismissive nature of their community, challenging the snobbish attitudes that tried to box them in. Suddenly, a dance-off was suggested, a bold event that would pit Mia and her underdog friends against the more privileged kids. Jack's heart raced, as the festival buzzed with excitement, a whirlwind of anticipation swirling around them. As the time drew near, Jack's gaze locked onto Mia. There she stood, a fragile figure trembling with both joy and fear. With every heartbeat, he realized that this wasn't just about Mia's dance, it was about breaking free, freedom from expectations, judgment, and newfound acceptance. The raucous crowd only amplified his internal battle. Could he finally admit what truly mattered in life? As Mia took her first hesitant step toward the stage, Jack felt a crack in the wall that had kept him isolated for so long. Would he dare step forward and embrace the chance to reconnect with his own dreams and perhaps change not only Mia's life but his own as well? As Mia stood at the edge of the stage, the chatter of the crowd faded into a dull roar. Her heart raced like a drum, pounding against her ribs with every breath. Jack could feel her energy spilling over, her small hands clenching and unclenching nervously. He knew she could do this, he could see it in her eyes, even if doubt lived there too. "Just breathe," he whispered, stepping a little closer. The world felt electric, the tension thick in the air, a living creature all its own. Encouraged by his presence, Mia shuffled her feet, a hint of a smile trying to budge onto her lips. "What if I fall?" she whispered, the concern evident in her gaze. In that moment, Jack was reminded of his own childhood fears, the panic that swept through him at the thought of failure. Yet here they were, on the precipice of something beautiful. "The magic happens when you take that first step," he replied softly, his heart swelling with a mix of nostalgia and hope. He reached out, brushing a stray hair from her forehead, and her eyes flickered up at him. That small gesture granted her just a little more courage. As the music started, notes cascading through the festival grounds, Mia's breath caught. She took a small step forward, and the world seemed to pause. The audience was one big, pulsating heart, and at its center was Mia. Jack's heart thudded in tandem with hers as the vibrant colors of the field contrasted with her pale dress. Then, with a deep breath, Mia lifted one foot, and in that sacred moment, she began to dance. The joy painted on her face ignited something deep within Jack, a faint pulse of his old dreams that he thought had vanished. He remembered his own innocence, where dance wasn't just an action, but an entire language of emotions. He watched as Mia spun and leaped, her movements a reflection of unrestrained joy. She poured her heart into every gesture, shattering the doubts that once held her back. The applause started slowly, hesitant claps mingling with gasps of amazement. Jack felt a wave of pride wash over him. He hadn't just witnessed a child blossom on stage, he was witnessing hope unfold. Mia's mother stood among the crowd, a slow smile forming on her face, her earlier skepticism evaporating. Jack caught her eye, and she nodded, her expression shifting from worry to something akin to trust. Perhaps she, too, was beginning to understand that this was more than just about dancing. It was about liberation, embracing life with open arms. As the dance-off grew more intense, each movement stepped up the excitement. Other children joined in, taking their turn on stage. But as Mia danced, something deep within Jack began to stir, a reminder of dreams long abandoned. He knew he could be more than just a CEO, a man who defined success in profits alone. He could connect, inspire, and change lives. "Jack!" A voice interrupted his thoughts. One of his peers had come over, eyebrows raised as he gestured towards the stage, astonishment mixed with incredulity. "You're really serious about this dance thing?" In that moment, Jack felt something shift within him. He straightened, a sense of clarity finding its way into his heart. This was it. "That's right," he said, a smile breaking over his serious demeanor. "What's the point of success without being part of something beautiful?" At that instant, Mia twirled, her laughter ringing out like music itself, catching the attention of everyone in the crowd. She was magic, transforming the moment, and Jack would not let his reservation eclipse her light. As the final dance steps were taken and the crowd erupted in joy, Jack felt a swell of emotion rise up. Maybe in this unpredictable world, there was still room for dreams to come alive. But would he find a way to keep this connection going? Could he fully step into this role of mentor, bringing hope not just to Mia, but to many others? His heart beat faster as he pondered the possibilities, excitement wrestling with fear. What would be the next step for them both? The dance was just beginning. The crowd was still roaring with applause as Mia took her final bow, a dazzling smile lighting up her face. Jack stood transfixed, still collecting the fragments of his own heart that had been swept away by her performance. It was more than just a dance, it was a moment of truth, not just for her, but for him too. The rising energy from the crowd enveloped him, igniting something inside that had long been dormant. "Did you see her?" A voice broke through his thoughts. It was Emily, one of Mia's closest friends, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "She was amazing. I can't believe she actually did it." Jack nodded, his heart still racing. "Yeah, she is something special," he replied. As more children came up to Mia, welcoming her triumph, he felt an overwhelming urge to be part of this community, this moment of joy and unity they had all created together. Suddenly, Mia spotted him in the crowd. With a huge grin, she beckoned to Jack to join her. "Jack! Come here. You have to see this." He hesitated for a heartbeat, uncertainty creeping in. What would they think of him? The uptight CEO, stepping out from behind his polished world, into the colorful messiness of childhood joy. But then he remembered her laughter, the way it filled the air like magic, and he couldn't resist. With a deep breath, he made his way to the stage. A few kids were already swirling around Mia, joy spilling out as they shared their own stories of courage, the spark of inspiration unmistakable in their voices. "Jack, you have to try," Mia urged, her eyes bright with hope. "Come dance with us." Jack felt a flutter of fear in his stomach, but he looked at her and her friends, each one a picture of pure abandon, unrestrained by the weight of adult judgment. "Okay," he said slowly, stepping onto the stage. As he joined in, laughter echoed, and he suddenly felt lighter. The music resumed, a joyful beat pulsing through his veins, guiding him. At first, Jack stumbled over his feet, clumsy compared to the delicate elegance of Mia. Yet, the kids around him giggled, their joy infectious, and soon he found himself letting go, embodying the spirit of fun. They danced like no one was watching, the crowd becoming a hazy background to their world of laughter and movement. Mia led them through silly spins, exaggerated leaps, and funny poses. Jack let his guard down, his heart swelling. In those moments, the burdens of adulthood melted away. As the music swelled toward its end, he caught a glimpse of Mia out of the corner of his eye, exhilaration radiating from her. Her happiness was pure, untainted by the complexities of the world outside this stage. It struck him then he wanted to bring that light into as many lives as he could. Not just for Mia, but for all the kids who needed that spark. As the final note rang, the crowd erupted in cheers again, this time for him too. He could hardly believe it. Here he was, a part of something exhilarating and genuine, and he wanted more. Was it possible? Was there a way for him to be this person all the time, not just in fleeting moments? He glanced down at Mia, who beamed back at him, her eyes sparkling with a mixture of gratitude and newfound belief. "You were really good," she exclaimed, her excitement bubbling over. Jack chuckled, a wave of warmth washing over him. "I've got some moves, don't I?" he replied, matching her grin. Already, he felt the stir of purpose and connection deep within. But as the crowd began to disperse and reality crept back in, Jack's mind raced. He knew he wanted to create a space where others could feel this freedom, this joy. What would it take to build something that inspired not just Mia, but many like her? With newfound determination igniting his spirit, Jack began to contemplate his next steps. The dance had just set into motion a series of events that could change everything. Where would this journey lead him? What dreams would bloom if he dared to take the first step? The festival lights began to dim, and the crowd gradually dispersed, leaving behind echoes of laughter and the faint sound of music lingering in the air. Jack felt a mix of exhilaration and uncertainty tangled inside him. It was surreal to think how a mere dance had shaken loose the chains he had wrapped around his heart for so long. Mia hopped off the stage, a whirlwind of energy and joy. "Did you see their faces?" she exclaimed, her cheeks flushed and radiant. "You were amazing. Jack, really? You brought the house down." Jack chuckled, still lingering in disbelief over what had just happened. "I think they were just being nice," he said playfully, adjusting his tie as if trying to return to his professional persona. "Oh, come on." She nudged him, eyes sparkling. "You have to believe it. This is who you are inside, isn't it? Fun and carefree." The sincerity in her voice struck a chord. What if she was right? Could he truly be that person? Just then, Emily came bounding back, her hands clasped at her chest. "Mia. Can we convince him to join us on stage again next week? We'll have another show, and it would be amazing to see you both perform together." Jack felt a flutter of hesitation. The idea of being up on stage again sent his heart racing in a way that felt both terrifying and thrilling. I don't know, he stammered, the remnants of his CEO shell creeping back in. Maybe it's just a one-time thing nonsense. Mia chimed in, shooting him an encouraging smile. You have to do it. Think about how much joy it brought not just to us, but to everyone watching. We could inspire even more kids. The truth of her words settled into Jack's mind, sparking a glimmer of hope. He thought about all the kids who needed someone to believe in them, to inspire them to dance through the struggles of life. Maybe we could start something, Jack said slowly, his voice gaining a steadiness he hadn't felt before. A program or something to keep this feeling alive for kids like you. Mia's jaw dropped in awe. Really? That would be amazing. Her excitement was contagious, and Jack felt a rush of warmth in response. But how do we even start? He pondered, glancing around at the now empty stage. Leave that to me. Emily chimed in with a determined nod. I have some contacts at the community center. We can set up classes and workshops. We'll get kids dancing and feeling alive. Jack felt a wave of responsibility wash over him. He had spent so much time climbing the corporate ladder that he had almost forgotten the power and joy of connection. Watching Mia dance had reminded him, pushed him, to break free of the sterile walls he had built around himself. As plans began to form among the three of them, a flurry of ideas grounded in genuine passion, Jack realized something significant. This was about much more than just dancing. This was about creating a welcoming sanctuary, a community that adored and celebrated the rhythms of life. But just then, a thought sliced through the excitement. What if he failed? What if he wasn't capable of turning those dreams into reality? It could blow up in their faces. Jack. Mia's voice pierced through his spiraling thoughts. What's wrong? He forced a smile, masking his doubts. Just thinking, it could be a big undertaking. What if it doesn't work out? Then we learn and try again, Mia said simply, her unyielding belief in him shining through. For now, let us just take the first step. With courage swelling in his chest, he nodded, ready to embark on this new journey. As they began brainstorming ideas, laughter and possibilities dancing around them, Jack felt the urge to dive into this adventure. But still, a question lingered in the back of his mind. Could this fragile dream speak to a deeper, unfulfilled place within him, creating not only ripples of joy in others but also guiding him to rediscover his own? The flicker of uncertainty mingled with hope, leaving Jack wondering what lay ahead. Would he make the leap, or would doubts hold him back? The next day dawned bright and warm, the sun spilling gold across the city as Jack sipped his coffee, still savoring the exhilaration from the festival. The chatter about their new venture filled his mind, igniting a rare sense of purpose. Images of children dancing, laughter ringing out, and a community thriving around creativity flashed in his imagination. He arrived at the community center, a vibrant place buzzing with activity. Kids darted around, chasing each other, while parents chatted in clusters. For the first time in years, this bustling energy felt inviting rather than overwhelming. He walked through the entrance, hoping to meet Emily and Mia, his heart racing with excitement. What do you think? Mia's voice called out, breaking his reverie. She stood at the entrance of the large auditorium, her arms wide open as if showcasing a grand stage. Looks great. Jack replied, taking in the large space, bright walls decorated with kids' artwork, and the polished wooden floor that gleamed under the ceiling lights. It really feels alive in here. Exactly. This is where we'll host our dance classes, Emily added, walking up to them with a stack of flyers. I've printed these. We can put them up around the neighborhood to get the word out. Jack's eyes scanned the flyers, taking in vibrant colors and inviting imagery of kids dancing. This looks fantastic. But do you really think they'll come? Doubts nipped at him again, but he pushed them aside. Mia came closer, her expression fierce but encouraging. We need to believe, Jack. Kids are looking for this. Dance is magic, it transports them. How about we host an open class this Saturday? Just throw it out there and see what happens. His heart raced at the idea. The thought of standing in front of a crowd again sent a thrill of anxiety through him, but it was accompanied by a spark of anticipation. Okay, let us do it. An open class it is. As they began planning the event, the excitement grew. They brainstormed how to engage the kids, different styles of dance, and how to make it fun while keeping the atmosphere encouraging. Jack reveled in the collaborative energy, each idea bouncing off the others like joyful notes in a harmonious song. That night, sleep eluded him. He thought about the kids who would fill the space and their eager faces, unsure but excited. Would his own insecurities fade in the warmth of that energy? Saturday arrived, and as Jack stood backstage, seconds turned into eternity. The auditorium was awash with laughter and chatter, children milling about with their parents. This is it, he whispered to himself, feeling the warmth seep into his core despite the nervousness clawing at him. Mia nudged him forward, her boundless enthusiasm evident as she smiled at his lingering hesitation. Just remember why we're here. Do it for them. The lights dimmed, and the music started a pulsating rhythm that filled the room. It was familiar, and yet different. This was more than just a performance, it was the beginning of what they'd always dreamed. Jack took a deep breath and stepped out into the light. The sea of unfamiliar faces looked up at him, eyes wide with curiosity. He felt an unfamiliar warmth wash over him, a mix of fear and excitement. Hey, everyone! He called out, his voice steadying as the lights warmed his skin. We're here to dance today. Are you ready to have some fun? Cheers erupted, the sound filling him with an exhilarating rush. In that moment, he realized he was not just in front of them. He was part of something bigger growing inside him. Here was hope, here was laughter, and maybe, just maybe, the beginning of a legacy of dance and spirit he had long set aside. But forget the moment, an even deeper thought nagged at him. Could he truly inspire them as a leader, reaching into their hearts just as Mia and Emily reached into his? As the music pulsed and the kids began to follow his lead, a question lingered: would he find the courage to fully embrace this new chapter, or would the ghost of his past keep him tethered in shadows? The music thrummed through the air, an infectious beat that sent ripples of energy across the auditorium. Jack stood at the center, surrounded by the eager faces of children, their eyes sparkling with excitement. They were ready, and so was he. Let us start with something simple. He called out, his heart racing yet steadied by their energy. He moved his feet, demonstrating a basic step he had loved as a child. To his surprise, as he looked out, they mirrored him with wide grins, their small bodies bouncing to the rhythm. The sound of laughter mixed with the beat, creating a melody of joy that seemed to envelop them all. Jack felt a spark igniting within him, a longing he hadn't realized for so long. Each young dancer brought light, their excitement infectious. They were dancing not just for fun, but for the sheer joy of movement. He led them through a few more moves, challenging them slightly, building their confidence with every step. Soon, they weren't just following his lead, they were becoming part of the dance, adding their own style, their creativity weaving into his instructions. Some stumbled, but laughter filled the gaps, and in those moments, Jack felt his worries slip away. Great job! He encouraged as one girl, with ponytails swinging, twirled on the spot, her face painted with bliss. Who wants to show us some cool moves? A few hands shot up, and Jack's heart leaped. They were eager to share, to shine. As he pointed to the girl, she hesitated, glancing back at her friends, who cheered her on. Finally, she stepped forward. With a deep breath, she began to dance, her little feet tapping rhythmically, arms weaving through the air with confidence that belied her age. The room erupted with cheers and claps, her face lighting up with pride as if she'd just conquered a mountain. In that moment, Jack realized the true magic of what they were building. It wasn't just about teaching dance, it was about creating a space where kids could discover themselves, lift each other up, and celebrate their uniqueness together. As the class progressed, more and more children began to share their moves. They showcased anything from breakdancing spins to graceful ballet twirls. His heart swelled. In this energetic whirlwind, he found his own fears melting away, replaced by a newfound sense of belonging. As they gathered around for a final group photo, bright smiles filled the frame, and Jack felt a profound sense of accomplishment course through him. They weren't just moments in time, they were the foundations of something bigger, a community that cherished connection, joy, and creativity. After the class wrapped up and the kids slowly trickled out, he caught sight of Mia and Emily, their faces radiating pride. As they gathered to reflect on the class, a deep warmth enveloped him, yet a flicker of doubt remained. What if this was just a one-time thing? He asked, looking at their hopeful faces. What if they don't come back? Mia stepped closer, her eyes steady. Jack, you have to believe in the magic of what happened here today. You lit something inside them. They're going to want more of this. You've inspired them. But he hesitated, fear gripping him again. Could he ride this wave of energy and keep the momentum going? Was he truly ready to sustain this passion? Before they could dwell on the uncertainties, the doors opened, and a familiar voice piped up. Mr. Jack. That was the best day ever. It was the little girl from earlier, her eyes shining with excitement. Jack's heart soared. Really? You mean it? Yeah. Can we have another class? Please. The question hung in the air, a thread connecting his past to a promising future. Seeing her passion sparked a fire in him. Of course. We'll have classes every week. But even as he said the words, a part of him quaked at the thought of wielding that responsibility. As the little girl smiled ear to ear and ran off, Jack turned to his friends, determination brewing inside him. He felt anchored, yet unsure of where this journey would lead. Together, he said, meeting their gazes with fierce resolve. We'll keep this going. But just as he felt the rush of conviction, a shadow crossed his mind. What if he failed? What if the children didn't connect again? As the pride bubbled within him, those haunting doubts quietly whispered, threatening to pull him back. With the weight of his thoughts swirling, he knew he was at a crossroads. Would he find the courage to let the dance carry him forth? Or would the specter of his past snuff out this spark before it could truly ignite? Jack found himself standing alone in the now quiet auditorium, the remnants of laughter still echoing in his ears. The energy that had once filled the space was replaced by a gentle hum, a sound that spoke of possibility. He leaned against the wall, trying to calm the racing thoughts in his mind. What if the children didn't come back? What if he couldn't live up to their expectations? Just the thought of it sent a shiver down his spine. Just take it one step at a time, right? He murmured to himself, searching for reassurance. But the burden of his own insecurities felt heavier than ever. As he left the auditorium, the evening air greeted him with a soft breeze. It carried an unfamiliar scent, freshly cut grass mingling with the warm sweetness of blooming flowers. He took a deep breath, letting the moment wash over him. He glanced down at his phone, a quick reminder of the world waiting outside this bubble of creativity. Work emails stared back at him, but he swiped them away, focusing instead on the joyful faces of the children that had just danced their hearts out. Back in his small apartment, Jack sat at his kitchen table, the quiet of the room contrasting sharply with the chaos of his thoughts. He pulled out a notebook, the pages still blank and untouched. Something compelled him to write. Each sentence began to flow, a mixture of hopes and plans for their next class. He wanted to incorporate storytelling, letting each dance tell a story, a tale of bravery, friendship, or dreams. The children would get to express not only their movements but also their imaginative worlds. Every child has a story, he whispered, feeling a spark of inspiration. Even as he jotted down ideas, doubt crept back in, twisting his stomach. What if the kids found this boring? What if he failed to ignite the same passion again? He sighed, pushing the thoughts away. Before he could spiral any further, a message popped up on his phone. It was a video from Mia. It showed snippets of the class laughter, dance, joy radiating from every small face. She added a note, just a little reminder of how special today was. Tomorrow could be even better. A smile broke across his face, warming him from the inside out. He stood and moved around the living room, his body unconsciously swaying to the rhythm he remembered from earlier. The thought of sharing dance with the kids, of helping them express what was inside them, filled him with an inexplicable thrill. The next morning, he arrived early at the auditorium, feeling different. Today felt like the first page of a new chapter. As he set up the space, lining up colorful mats and props for storytelling, he imagined the children's joy when they'd see it. Moments later, they poured in, filled with excitement, their voices blending into a cheerful chorus. He greeted them with a wide grin. "Welcome back, dancers. Are you ready to tell some stories through dance today?" Hands shot up in excitement. He could feel their buzzing energy, a tangible force. As they danced together, creating characters and adventures, Jack felt himself let go of the anxiety that had gripped him. Each movement became a celebration of their individuality, a reflection of everything they had shared. Halfway through, Jack noticed his little friend from the previous class, the girl with the ponytails, standing slightly apart. Her eyes sparkled with curiosity but held a hint of hesitation. "Hey," he called to her, encouraging her to come closer. "Are you ready to join us?" She nodded slowly, and Jack felt a swell of pride. In that moment, he realized he was already making connections, forging bonds. And he was beginning to understand that each shared experience chipped away at his fears. As the class ended, the little girl approached him, her shyness melting away. "Can I come back again tomorrow? I want to dance more." Jack's heart swelled as warmth filled his chest. "Of course. I wouldn't want to miss it for the world." But the truth loomed heavy over him. Could he truly lead them down this path? Would he have what it took to keep their spirits soaring? As the kids laughed and chatted happily around him, the question gnawed at his core. Could he be the light that led them forward, both in dance and in life? With a determined fire flickering within him, he knew one thing for sure: tomorrow held promise. And the dance was just beginning. The next day dawned bright and clear, the sun spilling light into Jack's apartment as he raced through his morning routine. His heart was already beating with anticipation. He had spent the night thinking about the little girl with the ponytails, the way her eyes lit up when she danced. It was infectious. As he reached the auditorium, he felt an electric buzz in the air. This wasn't just about teaching dance anymore. It was about opening doors, creating safe spaces where every child could explore their true selves. Jack walked into the room, and the bright colors of the mats and props greeted him like a long-lost friend. He could already hear the chatter before the kids even arrived. It felt warm, welcoming, filled with raw energy. When the children poured through the doors, he found himself smiling before he could think twice. Each face represented a unique story, filled with hopes and dreams. The little girl with the ponytails, whom he would come to know better as Emma, was in the front, jumping on the spot, her excitement almost tangible. "All right, everyone," he called out, his voice rising above the joyful noise. "Today, we're going to turn our dance into an adventure. I want you to imagine being characters, heroes, explorers, anything you can dream of." The hands shot up again, and questions flooded in from enthusiastic little mouths. "What if I'm a dragon? Can I be a superhero? I want to be a princess." Their excitement was contagious, wrapping around Jack like a warm blanket. Emma's hand waved wildly in the air. "Can I be a dancer who flies?" "Absolutely." Jack answered, his heart fluttering. "You can even make up a whole story of how you learned to fly." As they began to move, he watched, utterly captivated. Little bodies twisted and turned, hearts racing as they created and shared their dreams in motion. Jack felt his own worries dissolve in the rhythm of their laughter, replaced by an overwhelming pride. Amid the energy, Jack noticed Emma hesitating again. She had started strong, her movements bold and expressive, but now uncertainty flickered in her eyes. Gears shifted in his mind. What made her pull back? Emma. Jack called out, his tone gentle but firm. What's your flying story? Show us. She took a half-step back, biting her lip, her confidence wavering. I don't know if I can. Jack's heart ached for her. You trust me, don't you? If you believe you can fly, I know you can. With every encouraging word, he could feel the room lean in, collectively holding its breath. Slowly, Emma nodded, determination flashing in her eyes. Taking a deep breath, she launched into her dance. Each movement told a tale of a dancer breaking free, soaring above the clouds, feeling the wind whip through her hair. The room erupted in support, cheers and claps resonating like music. Jack's chest swelled with pride. It wasn't just dance, it was a moment of courage, a raw, genuine transformation. Emma wasn't alone anymore. She was surrounded by friends who believed in her. When the dance ended, Emma stood under a swirl of applause, her face bright with newfound confidence. Jack rushed to her side, lifting her high in celebration. You did it. You flew. She beamed, the glow of her spirit illuminating the room. I really did. I want to fly every day. As class wrapped up, Emma ran to Jack, giving him a hug that spoke volumes. It solidified the bond they had begun to build, and somewhere deep inside, Jack felt that he was finally carving out his place in this world. But amidst the joy, a shadow lingered in the back of his mind. If Emma's journey could inspire such transformation, what else lay ahead for these children? And how would he continue to guide them through their struggles? Just as these thoughts consumed him, a loud thud echoed from the storage area. Jack's heart raced. What could it be? He glimpsed back at the door, uncertainty creeping in. Could today truly be the start of something magical, or would the shadows of doubt return? As he stepped toward the unexpected noise, he wondered about the adventures to come. Jack's heart hammered in his chest as he approached the door leading to the storage area. The echo of the thud bounced off the walls, a sound that seemed out of place in this buoyant atmosphere. He paused, taking a deep breath, willing himself to push past any fear and embrace whatever awaited him. The moment he turned the handle and stepped inside, a musty smell filled his nose. The dim light cast long shadows across the room, revealing stacks of forgotten props and storage boxes teetering like a jigsaw puzzle. Among the clutter, he spotted the source of the noise, a fallen shelf, its contents spilling onto the floor. Just a silly accident, he muttered to himself, until a soft whimper caught his attention. Glancing closer, he discovered a small shape curled up behind the wreckage. It was a boy no more than 7 or 8, his eyes wide and frightened, lost in the chaos of colorful fabric and broken toys. Hey there, Jack said gently, crouching down so he was eye level with the boy. Are you okay? The boy blinked, tears glistening on his cheeks. I got scared. I came to help, but it all fell over. His voice trembled. Jack's heart broke a little, the innocence of the boy's fear resonating deeply. It's all right, Jack soothed, offering a smile. Sometimes, things get messy, but we can fix it together. As the boy hesitantly climbed out from his hiding spot, Jack reached out a hand, and the boy took it, albeit with a cautious glance. What's your name? Jacob, he replied, his voice soft but steadying. I wanted to help everyone else dance. I thought I could make their costumes shine. Those costumes will be perfect for the next class, don't worry. Jack encouraged, ruffling Jacob's hair. And you're going to help me clean this up, right? Jacob nodded, his fear starting to melt away as he straightened up. Together, they began to lift the fallen toys and props, stacking the boxes back on the shelf. With each item they returned, Jacob seemed to grow a little bolder, flashing shy smiles as Jack praised his efforts. You have a great spirit, Jacob. You remind me of a hero in a story, Jack remarked, trying to instill a sense of courage in him. What kind of hero do you want to be? Maybe a superhero, Jacob said, a hint of excitement creeping into his voice as he reached for a bright red cape lying nearby. One that can fly like a bird. A flying hero, huh? I like it. Jack clapped his hands together. Let us dance like heroes together when we finish here. I want to see how your superpower looks. The boy's face lit up, a spark igniting in his eyes as he envisioned soaring through the sky. They resumed their task, and soon the room had transformed back into a space of possibility. See? You did it, Jack said, leaning against the shelves, pride shining in his eyes. Now we can share our newfound superhero powers with everyone else. Jacob beamed, fully immersed in the moment. But just then, the loud chatter of the other children echoed from the main ballroom, breaking the spell. Jack quickly checked his watch. Oh no, we lost track of time. We need to hurry. He grabbed Jacob's hand. Let us show everyone how heroes move. As they dashed together toward the dance studio, Jack felt a rush of warmth. Today had become so much more than just about dance. It was a lesson in bravery, in friendship, and in helping others discover their wings. But once they reached the open doors, Jack paused. The room was filled with laughter and excitement, but he couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to uncover. Where had Emma gone? As another thud came from the corner, this time louder, Jack's heart dropped. What now? Stepping cautiously into the midst of chaos, he realized this was only the beginning of many unexpected adventures that awaited him and the children. He just hoped they were all ready for whatever came next. The laughter echoed around the auditorium, blending with the rhythmic beats that pulsated through the air. Jack leaned against the back wall, watching as the children danced and played, each burst of energy fueling his spirit. After the unexpected mess in the storage area, he felt close to Jacob, the timid boy who discovered his own courage. As the dance class progressed, Jack kept an eye out for Emma, the ponytailed girl who had filled him with pride. She had been so eager to explore her creativity, and he couldn't shake the nagging feeling that something was holding her back today. All right, everyone. Let us gather around. Jack called, and the room quickly hushed, all eyes on him. I want to hear your hero's stories. Why do you want to be a hero? Hands shot up like fireworks, excitement bubbling over. Kids shouted answers to save the day. To help my friends. To make everyone smile. Each story weaved a tapestry of dreams, and Jack felt a warmth surge within him. He could see the bright possibilities building in each little heart. But still, Emma remained silent in the back, shifting her weight between her feet. Determined to connect, Jack stepped toward her, down on one knee so they were at the same level. Emma, what about you? Who do you want to be? Her eyes flickered, uncertainty clouding her face, and Jack sensed her hesitation. I don't know, she whispered, brushing a stray hair behind her ear. What if I can't do it? Jack's heart sank. What if you can? He countered gently. What if you have the power to create your own hero? I believe you can. Look at these kids. They are all rooting for you. He gestured to the pulsating mass of encouragement. Emma glanced around, her small shoulders sagging. What if they laugh at me? In this room, we focus on inspiration, not judgment. No one laughs here, Emma. We cheer. Remember your dance last time? You soared. He took her hand gently. Let us create that magic together right here, right now. Emma's gaze dropped for a moment before she nodded slightly, determination bubbling under the surface. All right. Jack turned back to the rest of the kids. I think it's time we show everyone what heroes can do. I want all of you to dance like you're flying, like you're invincible. The music kicked in, a lively tune that called to everyone's feet just like the call of adventure. The kids burst into action, moving with energy, and Emma felt the wave of support flood over her. She stepped forward, her heart racing as she joined the dance. In that moment, something shifted. Emma took a deep breath, and with her first step, the room vibrated with acceptance. She twirled, her body breaking free from its restraints as creativity poured forth. Laughter erupted, not only from the audience but from Jack's lips too. The joy was palpable. Jack couldn't help but join in, letting himself mirror Emma's movements in a playful dance beside her. They spun, jumped, and laughed together, and something deep within Jack sang a release of long-buried dreams mixing with the innocence of childhood wonder. As the dance reached its peak, the whole class joined together, each child radiating a heroic story through their movements. Jack felt joy expanding in his chest, a feeling he had almost forgotten amidst the monochrome world of boardrooms and deadlines. Then, with one final collective leap, the room erupted into applause, every child celebrating their triumphs together. Emma's face shone like a star, disbelief and joy lighting up her features. "Did you see that?" she exclaimed, breathless and electrified. "We're heroes." Jack nodded vigorously, feeling as if he had just witnessed something that transcended time itself. "That's right. Together we flew." The energy swirled and blended, creating a vibrant tapestry of community. Jack understood now, it was never just about him or even about dance. It was about connection, inspiration, and building a sanctuary for children to explore their true selves. As the class came to a close, a voice broke through his thoughts. "Jack." It was Jacob, still wearing that bright red cape. "Can we do this again? I have stories to tell." Jack beamed, his heart swelling further. "Of course we can. Every week. We're going to fly again and again." And as another round of cheers erupted, Jack felt overwhelming gratitude. Today marked a fresh beginning not just for the kids but for him too. He had found purpose, laughter, and a sense of belonging in the flickering light of their dreams. As the kids began to trickle out, Jack lingered in the doorway, his heart brimming with hope. After all that had happened, he realized that this moment was the first of many steps toward a much grander adventure. But now, there was one thing left to do. "Hey!" Jack called to the class as they turned back to him. "Let's promise to meet up again. And next week? Bring your friends. Let's grow our community." Waves of eager nods greeted him, and as laughter spilled into the air once more, Jack felt a vibrancy fill the space. He was ready to embrace every twist and turn life would present. In that moment, as the echoes of joy faded, he understood he had finally taken a leap of faith into an unknown world where dreams could flourish. And so, with unwavering determination, Jack committed to this journey not only for himself but for all the little heroes learning to dance their way through life's adventures. This was just the beginning. Now, listen up, folks. You need to subscribe now to this channel to not miss out on the next exclusive stories that can inspire you every step of the way. Don't wait not even one more second to share your thoughts in the comments. Let us know how this transformation made you feel. And hey, if you love this heartwarming story, leave a like now to feed that algorithm and help spread the word. Finally, share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to experience this uplifting journey. You don't want them to miss out on the magic, do you? This is the moment to show your support.